Cool. So we're talking about these fucking, what is it? The mummy slash whatever that they found in Peru
Yes.
originally, I think, because I looked it up. And then they had this whole spiel about it in front of the Congress, or the Mexicans had a whole spiel about it in front of their Congress, and people were testifying under oath, and
Yes.
they were saying that these aliens. I'm just gonna get an abbreviated version, then you can give the longer version.
Sure.
But they had this thing in front of the Congress testified. There were some Japanese people. I'm sure you're gonna tell us more about them. But the gist of it is that they did DNA tests on these things and concluded that 30% of their DNA structure doesn't fit with humans or anything known. They also concluded that there were specimens of the mummies or whatever, what you want to call them, that were pregnant and had eggs in them. It was also shown that they probably live somewhere subterranean based on their structure. And that's about it. Like, very brief version. You can give the longer version now.
Yes, sure. So I guess I'll just, because I haven't really processed this in my head very well, I suppose I'll just like give it as if it was a narrative, even though it isn't, from my own perspective.
Mm.
So yesterday I saw on Reddit this thread talking about UAPs and the Mexican Chamber of Deputies, which is, I mean, I call it Congress, but it's not exactly the Congress, right? The Congress is, I believe, both the deputies and the Senate. So in the Chamber of Deputies, they invited over a bunch of people to talk about these phenomena, which happen that they don't really have a great explanation for. And obviously, the government is interested in it as a, like, from a national security perspective. And so they had these videos of UAPs and stuff, and I mean, I saw it. It seemed interesting, but it's the sort of thing that I guess I'm pretty fucking I'm not sure, like jaded maybe, or I've seen this stuff so many times and I'm like, well, whatever, who cares? Then I went in the comments
Mm.
and people were posting images of fucking aliens, and I was like, wow, where did that come from? And the one that immediately fucking jumped at me was the X-ray one, because what the fuck, like that's obviously not human, and I don't know how people made it if it's fake. So what is it? So I went digging into it, and I saw first that the video is indeed from the Mexican Chamber of Deputies on YouTube. The people who were invited to speak were different, like scientists from different domains. Like one of them was a graduate of the University of Mexico, another was part of the Mexican Navy. They were like biologists, archaeologists, and geneticists and stuff. And I mean, the more I saw it, the more I was like, what the fuck? Because they even, like, you see this in the video. I'm not sure if you actually watched the video, because the video is fucking, I mean, it's surreal, right? Because they brought the
It's really long
corpses.
too.
I mean, yes, but you skip to the part where they show the fucking aliens, right? Um,
Mm.
they brought the coffins of the specimens, let's call them, and brought it to the fucking Chamber of Deputies. And then there's like cameras zoomed in on the fucking alien. It looks so surreal and comic, and like a fucking meme, right? And
Mm.
so I guess I could go over what it is that they have done and try to, I mean, give both views of it, because it's not like I have a conclusion really. I don't really understand it, because
Um,
I
yeah,
mean,
I mean,
go ahead.
what were you gonna say? Yeah,
I mean,
no, the thing that I'm just gonna get to is there's like two important things here that I think just a very short clarification here, just so I understand and the people listening understand. Uh,
yes,
so when it comes to what chamber did they do this? Because you said there were two different chambers of their parliament. So which chamber did they do this in? Like
Yes, the Chamber of Deputies, which is I mean, there's the
like
Senate.
senators?
No, there's the Senate, which are the senators, and there's
Okay.
the Chamber of Deputies, which are, I mean, I don't know if they are the same in Mexico as they are in Brazil, but in Brazil they're essentially like I mean, they're the equivalent of the English like what do they call it that in England? There's like the lower and the
House
higher.
of
Yeah, there's
yeah,
the
the
House of
House of
Commons.
Lords and the
Yeah,
House of Commons. Yes,
yeah. So the Chamber of Deputies is like analogically similar
House of
to the House
Commons.
of Commons. Um,
Okay,
yeah. So this is the place this was presented
House
in.
of Commons. Okay, okay. So then the second, and it's more just to show that I'm sort of with you in a way, because sometimes you get so fucking jaded, like you said about all this stuff, like, oh yeah, this hearing, this, Bob Lazar, all of this, right? And it kind of reminds me of like, it was a long time ago now, but 2016. Yes, I was with my friends, and then it was that march in Virginia, like that very bad people march, that word I can't say on YouTube, but that march. And I remember I was talking, and my friend told me about it, and I didn't think it was real because I seen everyone was being called, white supremacists and all that. So I didn't believe him. I just said, "Oh, was PewDiePie there or something? Is that why they call it that?" And my friend just looks at me like I'm a fucking retard and says, "No, no, Keiko, like this is bad. This is like legit bad people." And they had to show me the video before I was like, "Oh, okay, this is
So
actually fucking legit."
so
So
so I
that's the same
understand.
kind of hated
Yeah, so
thing.
I understand which one you were referring to because I don't actually remember things by dates. Is that
Charlottesville, that's the name.
the Tiki Torches march or is that
Yes.
something else? Okay, all right. So I don't know. Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So
yeah.
the torches shows flow. So this. I am actually with you with that. Like I feel so jaded with all this stuff, and I feel very similar to that time where it's like could be real, could be completely fake, but yes. Final point, because before you wanted to get into something more specific, and then we can really dig into it, is that I want it to be real for one single reason, and this is like very bad, but I was reading up on this, and I went into some Reddit threads to see counter arguments and everything. And one of the counter arguments against this was so goddamn fucking smug that I want this to be real. I want, I like the first, like I want the first news segment we see when these aliens, the fucking Fuda whatever, just shows up and like gets that guy. I want them to get that guy because he was so smug. Then oh my god, that's the only thing I want. Then it's fine if they take over, as long as I see that guy go down.
I actually
A little
couldn't
dark,
resist it,
but
and I got into a little bit of an argument on Reddit as well. I mean, not really. I just like replied to a few
I
people who were
understood.
saying bullshit because
Yes.
I mean it's like okay. I guess we should probably go over like the arguments for why this might or might not be real. Um,
Hmm.
and I'll probably go over why it's probably. I mean, I don't think I can actually separate things properly, so I'll just end up saying both of them at the same time. So whatever. So they like you said, right? They did DNA analysis of the
Hmm.
samples from these mummies, and I should say that these mummies were not found recently. These were, I believe, found in 2017, so they're already
Yes.
5 years old or something. And there's
Yes.
like even a documentary about them already. So this is not
Yes.
exactly new. What's new is the fact that they brought this to the Chamber of Deputies, and I think the DNA analysis is new. I'm not exactly sure. Like I've seen this presented in like Reddit comments as if this is new, but I don't know.
Hmm.
And so the DNA analysis revealed that first, this is obviously genetic material that they sent to analysis, but the problem is, and this is a problem which happens in different ways, not only in DNA, the different samples appear to have completely different sets of DNA. So
Hmm.
whatever it is, it's not the same thing, even though it might look like the same thing. So there isn't really a good explanation for that. They do know that contamination is very likely because of how much, uh, like, how much of the portion of the material that they tested was either not, like, they didn't have it on their database, so they didn't know what it was from, or it was just too damaged to actually get a proper sequencing. So the DNA tests that they uploaded, they made it public, right? So you can actually access the results if you want.
Yeah, yes,
Uh,
yes.
the 3 tests that they did were like completely fucking different. Like some had Homo sapiens, like part of Homo sapiens DNA. Others had mostly like bacteria, and another had like half and half. And it was just like all over the place. You cannot actually you from the results you couldn't guess that those came from the same entity, for example. So
Mm.
who knows what that exactly means, right? So you can't really say that the DNA was like revealed too much. It's possible that, I mean, for sure, if there is anything like any truth to it, eventually people will study this enough that uh, they will like understand whether the unknown DNA is actually really unknown DNA or just contamination or like a species we don't know about that isn't, non-human or let's say non-earthly. And if there's like any other better explanation for why that occurs, but right now it's very difficult to pinpoint whether the DNA, like the DNA is not conclusive. Let's put it that way. Like you can't look
Yeah,
at it and
that
say,
uh,
yeah,
uh,
this is one thing or another.
yeah, that's the thing I wanted to actually bring up very closely because one of the strongest counter arguments I've seen against it is someone. This guy wasn't annoying in the Reddit thread. He was actually quite, calmly just explaining his point, and that is a point I don't quite understand because I, didn't study biology that much. So that's why I'm a little also laid back from the whole thing because he started explaining this, the what's it called disintegration process about bacteria and stuff. And what he was trying to get at, if I understand it correctly, was that if you have a human corpse that gets so disintegrated, then other things will come in and takes its place, which is normal, and then at some point, of course, it's gonna say that it's just 70% human and not 100% human. It was something like this, but it used such a jargon and such a biology terms that I can't fully say that I understood his point. What I'm saying though is that
There's
it
an
is
explanation for
quite
the
important that
contamination, essentially.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, as you said, contamination and disintegration. It was something he said that I was like, okay, I sort of see where the counter here comes in, but I would need to listen to someone who actually knows biology, and it's not a shill. I'm talking about the centrist of the centrists, coming in and calmly explaining it to me.
I mean,
Then I might have a bigger opinion about that point.
it's. I mean, I. There's nothing I disagree with what you said. I think it's exactly right. I do think that, like I said, it's inconclusive and it doesn't mean anything exactly. Or put it another way, maybe you'd hope if you were against this that it would prove that it was fake somehow. Like, they showed that it was actually,
Mm.
a monkey's DNA or something. And,
Mm.
maybe the desiccation is like, maybe someone found the corpses of monkeys which were old and tried to like make a hoax of, oh, these are actually aliens. And then, but the DNA doesn't show that either. So it's still up in the air as to what it is. Um, so I think that's probably enough for the DNA conversation, unless you have something else you want to talk about regarding DNA.
I mean, no, I mean, sort of, but they're more into, the whole what they are thing. But anyway, continue. I mean, or to be fair, let me think now. Yes, I can actually bring up the other counterpoint I have because it fits in very well. Because the other strongest argument I saw against it when and to be fair, I just looked at this for like an hour, so I didn't like look at it for several fucking hours, then I might have even been able to understand the biology argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the guy. This thing they said is spearheaded by some guy that apparently was wrong before about something. It was like, I'm just gonna explain the counter as objectively as I can.
Yes.
He was part of another study or something where he said, "Oh, look, we found another alien being," and then this was turned out to not 100% like they couldn't prove it was an alien what he showed, and then a lot of people now think that what he's saying now, because he's the spearhead of this movement, or this what is it called, the spearhead of this, not movement but the hearing, he that's why they distrust it. So one argument I would agree with is that if his name was that tainted, maybe he shouldn't have been part of this thing. But then again, maybe if he hadn't, they might not have gotten steam at all. My point being that that's a counterpoint. But before I get into more of it, what do you think? Have you heard about this one?
Yes.
Before?
I've seen it in the comments as well. And I mean, the story that I read in the comment was, I mean, it seemed fucking scammy as hell, right? He was talking about this alien. He had a bracelet, the alien, and then he would bring this bracelet to this talk show and talk about the bracelet and say how it came from space and etc. And it sounded very fucking fake. Yes, this is one of the people who is working on this, and it's definitely like it does lend more, I guess, the reverse of credence to the story, right? Because if you have a scammer in your team, it's your reputation is negatively affected. So you are right in this, but you also have the problem of that's like an at home exactly, right? It's like, well, there's the evidence and there's the person presenting the evidence. You say, well, the person presenting the evidence is a liar, but is the evidence a lie? That's the question, not the person who's presenting it. So you can't just dismiss what he is presenting based on who he is as a person and what he's done in the past. You have to take it seriously regardless. You can use it as as a criteria not to trust them, but like you don't have to trust them to look at the evidence, right?
No, that's true. No, I agree with that, and like try to explain that in a Reddit comment, right? Like there's no point. What you just said, like explain that to someone in a Reddit comment, it's not possible. There's another point here that made me really annoyed too.
Oh my
they said,
God.
"Oh, yeah, this guy has been disproven by what is it? Oh, yeah, this guy's been disproven, blah blah. Look at this article." Then I looked at the article, right? The article where they disprove him. There's no evidence in that article. It's just a bunch of claims in the article how this guy's lying. So it's like, okay, cool. Let's look at the Snopes article, and so go to the Snopes article. And when I read it, they were lying in the Snopes article too. Or not lying, but they gave very unreliable evidence in the Snopes article. I can give you an example. What they said is that, okay, so this guy, he said that this was like coming from an alien, blah blah, like that first thing he was a part of. But then I looked into it, and here's the thing: the thing I agree with that he shouldn't have done is that he went out and said, "This is an alien, like 100% this is an alien," and when they weren't even done testing the thing. So it might as well have been just a child, like an old, just a child that lived 2,000 years ago that has been fossilized. That was the first. So that point I agree with. But here's the thing: they said, "Oh, this has been proven to be wrong," or that it's been proven that he's been lying or something like this, right? And then when I click on that link takes me to something unrelated about Roswell.
Yes.
So the people debunking this guy are doing such a horrible job at it.
Yes, because it's this is something I've come across as well. Yeah. I've noticed as well. Like people were saying, like they were linking stuff that had no, like wasn't backing up what they were claiming. Like they were linking articles that were saying,
That they
Some
haven't
people
read.
were saying
Except they haven't
this.
read the articles.
Yes, they were just like, oh, this is fake. Look at this link I googled, uh, because I'm not gonna look at it. So you look at it. It's like it's
Mm.
ridiculous. I even replied to one of these guys as well. It's like, I mean, it's a conspiracy, but it does seem very fucking weird how like unequipped the people who are arguing against it are. Like, why are all the stupid people saying this is fake? Isn't that highly unlikely? Where are the smart people saying this is fake? Uh, it just
Yes.
seemed weird to me.
Yeah, that's yeah, I actually agree with that sentiment. And then you have this no, because as you said, like they don't read the article that they link you, and then when you read it, it's like yes, I mean, if you want to say, I agree that he shouldn't have said it was an alien when he doesn't have the evidence to claim it's an alien. That's wrong. I agree, but then you have to give me more than that, because then I can just, because at that point you're like, okay, this guy was wrong once, he lied once, okay, I can, and then if we look at the people they listen to or follow, then I can find like 20 people they follow that also lie. I mean, so if
Yeah,
that's the like, if that's the limit, or like the whatever you want to say, that you everyone has, they can have never ever have lied ever in their life about anything. Then it's like, okay, cool. So no one, we can't listen to no one. We can just listen to Jesus. Like that's the only person we can listen to, and he's not here. Okay, so
he
you know,
actually is, but he is.
in our hearts, sure. I'm
Uh,
sorry, in our hearts, of course.
he's also in our midst. Like he never fucking died. I'll have you know. Uh, but regardless of religion, we should probably move a little from, because it's pointless to discuss what people are saying about this because no one knows anything right now. Like the people who know the most are the
Yeah.
people who are in that fucking room, right? The people who actually study this. And there are actually, like, I'm not sure, you probably haven't seen this, but there's a site called the Alien Project, which has a compilation of studies which were done in this. I thought I should probably mention a few things that, like, we know about this, or at least that if they were faked very well. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
Uh, the carbon dating, for example, it is like the samples they sent from these bodies. They were from 700 to 1800 years old. So if this is
Yes.
fake, it's, I mean, ancient people faked it. This is not like
Yes.
a modern art project or something, right? Or, and this is the alternative, I guess, somehow they got samples from something which was that old and then presented them as if they came from these bodies, but they were not. Like that's the other alternative. And I mean, I suppose it's not impossible, but uh, it sort of, I mean, the problem is the alternative is that these are aliens, so they're both fucking possible. uh, it's difficult to. This is why I said to you that I don't really know like what the conclusion is. Either someone is really fucking good at lying and making shit up and creating this huge hoax
It is
with
a
a lot of,
troll.
yeah, but like all of it, like none of it is or none of it is conclusive that this is false, but
Mm.
there's a lot of that points to it being real as well. Although there's
Mm.
something that points to being fake, of course. Um,
Mm.
like the carbon dating part is the most interesting to me because, well, these were bodies which were found in Peru. These were associated, I believe, with the Aztecs. So who knows exactly? Uh,
No, it was before the. It was before them. It was the before the Incas. It was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was before there were any, you know, let's say those type of civilizations. They
I
were
mean,
not as high. It was the progenitors, or whatever you want to call, to
I
the Incas.
I don't know because this is only like 700 to 1800 years old, right? So I'm not sure exactly what's the timeline of their civilizations, but I believe that these were found like, I don't remember what they're called, like the monuments that they have in, like the Aztecs have in Peru. I don't remember what they're called, but regardless, like it's, I mean, it's one thing to like suppose for a second that this is real, right? what is the agency of these beings on our history exactly? Are they observers? Are they outsiders? Are they, pulling
We're
the
talking about the
strings?
beings.
Yes, if they are real,
Okay.
what are they doing exactly? What have they done? Like, because this is not, it's not like they show up to, well, I suppose maybe we wouldn't know if they showed up to fucking random tribes, but why did they show up to a relatively civilized people if they did, right?
No, here's the
Because that's the
thing.
theory. If they are real and these were
No, no, but
bodies, then in theory they appear to those people.
no. Here's the thing. There's two things about this. I hear you, but there's something here that I did read up on. First of all, the Incas and the Aztecs, they existed 1438 and 1538. So this is way before them. Or they were founded at that time. They were founded pretty late in, the world, like the world's time, whatever you want to say.
Is this after
Second of
Christ, you're
all,
saying?
yes,
So this is only 500 years ago?
yes.
I see. So these bodies are 200 years, at least 200 years older than the civilizations you're talking about.
No, way earlier, because if they are 1,800 years ago,
No.
then they're almost.
At least they're 700 to 1800. So,
Okay, that's what you meant. Oh, yeah, yes, you're right. But anyway, there's another point. These specimens, when I looked it up, were found in a mine. So it's quite. So they were not part of, like, it wasn't civilization that found them until much later, and they
oh,
were also up in a ritualistic manner. So the first people who found them, like, because I saw that it was an old clip I saw, when they had first found them, I guess. Like, the guy who was introducing and talking about them said, "Oh yeah, this is a ritualistic manner. These." Because he just thought they were mummies, right? He
yeah,
didn't think about aliens or anything. He was like, these are mummies,
yeah.
And he said the way these mummies have been put out is typical of ritualistic sacrifice. That the people of these valleys that were before the Inca and the Aztecs, or yes, the Incas, because this is Peru, so it's the Incas. So it was before, the people before them did it this way. And then you also have those weird lines in the sand. That's just also in Peru, that no one knows how they made them. That's another thing, right? But before this, that I really want to ask, or like
Yeah.
I want to ponder on for 1 second. America must be shitting their pants right now. Because if aliens are, like, confirmed, yes, aliens exist, everyone knows America's been doing some shady fucking shit. And I mean, I'm not saying like the global trust is the best, but it's pretty good overall. It will just tank. Not
Would it
completely,
though?
mind you, but it will.
I doubt
People
it.
will be like,
It's,
"Oh, shit, you lied about these aliens. All of those fucking CIA movies and stuff were right."
I
So what
mean,
I think they will do? No, this is important. Do you know what they will do now with this whole thing? The
yes,
CIA?
they'll fucking make it so big, like the aliens
No, no,
thing,
no, no,
and
no,
it's going to
no,
become so big that it's gonna wash away the fact that they hid it before.
no. They will claim that these aliens are transphobic and
Oh,
racist, and that these aliens are gonna find that they're actually putting up the OK sign. These aliens, so they died as racists. That's how they're
they
gonna, like,
Gagger, they
push and
have
put it
three
out in the right.
fingers. They can't do an OK sign.
Oh yeah, but it's a progenitor. So they were actually looking through time to the future to figure out what was racist. So they were always racist,
I
and
see.
transphobic as well. These aliens. So that's how they're gonna sweep it all under the rug, man.
I mean, one thing I'm for is being like the aliens are evil, because that's like the best stories are the ones where the humans are very racist towards aliens. Those are like the best
Hey,
stories.
yeah.
Um, But I mean, this is why, like, the reason if that happened, the USA Trust would not think is because you already have shit like MK Ultra, where it shows that the US has experimented in it on its own civilians before, and even done like mock, uh, what do they call it, like biological warfare inside their own borders. Like they put bacteria in the water to see how it would react and how many people would get the quote unquote bug. They've done a bunch of psychedelics trying to experimented with a bunch of psychedelics to try to brainwash people. They still have torture and similar quote unquote interrogation techniques being performed at people, which is apparently constitutional as long as it's not done inside the US territory. So they do it in other countries. And this is all known. Like, this isn't a secret. People know about this. So I don't think that that's like, oh, turns out the US had fucking aliens in Area 51. I guess I won't be buying, I don't know what the fuck does US export. I'm not sure, like fucking Ford cars anymore. Now I'm going to buy, who cares, like Hyundai. I don't think that that's gonna happen. It doesn't seem likely to me. I think they would get away with it if that was the case.
I mean, we will see. I will just say that it just doesn't look good at the administration.
They do have a hearing today, by the way. Apparently, the U.S. has a hearing in Congress in regards to UAPs. So,
oh yeah, the